NEPM's podcasts are funded by Armbrook Village Senior Living in Westfield, offering assisted living and compass memory support with evidence-based treatment for those with memory loss. More at armbrookvillage.com.
Welcome to the Fabulous 413. I'm Khalees Smith.
And I'm Monty Belmonte. It's Live Music Friday, and we got a brother-sister duo from Springfield who'll play in their hometown tomorrow evening, T-Swan and Talent. They are part of the Springfield Jazz and Roots Festival.
We'll also get back into the Tina Turner Memorial Wine Thunderdome with our wine snob friends and our NEPM News Department friend at State Street in Northampton. But speaking of Tina Turner and the Thunderdome, we're also going to welcome Grammy and by extension Oscar-winning singer Ms. Lisa Fischer to the studio.
She will also be playing at the Jazz and Roots Festival tomorrow, but there is another free festival happening on the porches of the hill towns.
This Sunday, July 14th, from 11 to 6, is the Shelburne Falls Porch Music Festival, with performances at over 50 front porches and local businesses throughout Shelburne Falls. And apart from music with folks like the Frost Heaves and Hales, Abdul Baki, Lonesome Jenny, and Chris Goudreau, there will be poetry on the porches.
Poets Abbott Cutler and Paul Mariani will be reading on Main Street at 2 p.m., but before that at 1. Poets Martina Spada and Lauren Schmidt will be reading at 105 Main Street as part of this Shelburne Falls Porch Music Festival. They both join us now.
Lauren Schmidt is the author of 4 collections of poetry. Her awards include the So to Speak Poetry Prize, the Neil Postman Prize for Metaphor, the Janet B. McCabe Prize for Poetry, and the Bellevue Literary Review's Vilcek Prize for Poetry. Lauren also teaches in the Humanities Department at the Academy at Charlemont. Charlemont.
You can take some poetic license with it, I think.
Ha 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 ha. I see what you did there. And runs a poetry workshop at New View, a court-mandated drug and alcohol rehabilitation program for women in Western Massachusetts, where she lives with her poet husband, Martina Spada.
Martina Spada has published more than 20 books as a poet, editor, essayist, and translator. His newest book of poems is called Floaters, which was the winner of the 2021 National Book Award, amongst other awards. He's the editor of What Saves Us, Poems of Empathy and Outrage in the Age of Trump. He's received the Ruth Lilly Poetry Prize, the Shelley Memorial Award, the Robert Creeley Award, an Academy of American Poets Fellowship, the Penn Revson Fellowship, a Guggenheim Fellowship. The Republic of Poetry was a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize. The list goes on and on. We welcome to the show Lauren Schmidt, and we welcome back to the show Martina Spada. Thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Monty.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Lauren, it's a pleasure to meet you virtually this way, and we could meet you in person on the porches in Shelburne this Sunday.
But let's meet your work first.
Yeah, let's hear some poetry.
Sure, I'm going to start off by reading a poem that I actually wrote for Martine on the occasion of the death of one of his mentors, someone whom he considers a second father. He was saying goodbye to Jack Agüeros, who is, among many other things, a poet, essayist, and translator. I had heard about Jack so many times before, and I happened to meet him as he was dying in hospice from complications due to Alzheimer's. So this is a poem that I wrote for that occasion, and it's called At the Bedside of a Man You Don't Know Dying, in memory of Jack Agüeros, 1934 to 2014. Because you believed in God once, you pray he will forgive you this trespass, being at the bedside of a man you don't know, dying, second father to the man you love, your eyes testifying to the ritual of wither, the blood's red rivers slow, skin thin as the wing of a fruit fly. Suddenly, sight of the unleavened bread of the thigh, a flesh in your blood screams, says, flee. Too profane to spy the body's last confession, too vulgar the flood of chrism in his lungs, the amber crucifix in his diaper, too foul to tread these hallowed grounds. The only thing to do is search the mercy of this giving over, slow enough for the man you love to be here now, to kiss the scripture of this second father's brow and breathe sonnets in Spanish until twin grins of recognition flutter beneath their noses. When finally you reach home, you lead the man you love by the fingers to bed to make holy each other, sacrament of fracas and pearl, and fruit flies, amber bellies fed and fat with sugar, will float from the dead patch of a pear in a bowl on your counter when you flick the light on in the morning.
Wonderful. That is Lauren Schmidt, who will be part of the Shelburne Falls Porch Music and Poetry Festival this Sunday. That was. Did you have an opportunity to meet Martine's mentor and second father, as you mentioned in that poem, before that time, or was that the only time?
That was the only time. It was the only time. And, he was a titan of a man, and he accomplished so much in his life. And to see someone in such a state was really humbling, and it was an honor to be there. And I wish I had met him when he was well, but it certainly meant something for us to be there. Martine unfortunately missed the passing of his father, and so it was really important that he was there for this. It's sad, certainly, but there's something really beautiful about seeing someone in their final moments, in their final days, and I certainly wanted to be there to support my husband, who loved this man very much.
I liked how appropriately graphic it was, too, the description of those final moments. If you've ever spent any time with somebody on their deathbed, it is a beautiful and horrible at the same time picture of that kind of experience.
It certainly helped me to face it. We were sitting in a restaurant in the first floor of the same building, and I didn't want to go. And she said, "Now it's time. Let's go. Let's do it." And then this poem is truly a gift. We do write poems for each other all the time. They're not always the sort of classic love poems. Oh, here's a love sonnet. This is a love poem, too. There are all kinds of love poems.
I was going to ask if you find that your work ends up juxtaposing into each other or into subject matter that relates to each other.
Absolutely. We're constantly talking to each other. We're constantly influencing each other. We're constantly giving each other gifts of this kind. Some of it might be for an occasion, like our wedding anniversary and her birthday fall on the same day. So I better produce a poem.
It's certainly an
To be fair, he started that tradition long before we were married. So.
It's an inexpensive gift unless you are a National Book Award-winning, Lilly Prize-winning poet, and then it's actually a very expensive gift. If I were to write a poem, very affordable gift.
It's an expensive gift both ways.
Yeah, it's true. And
I wish the IRS would see it.
we're speaking with poets Martina Spada and Lauren Schmidt, who will be reading as part of the Shelburne Falls Porch Music Festival, which is happening this Sunday. Martine, I had mentioned in your introduction that your last book, Floaters, won the National Book Award, but it's been a few years, and you have another book that will be coming out at the end of this year, I hear tell. And I hear tell also we may get a preview right now of some poems that others have maybe not had the experience to hear or read yet.
You hear tell mostly correctly. I do have another book of poems forthcoming. It's called Jailbreak of Sparrows, and it will be out with Knopf, or Knopf, if you prefer, in April of 2025. I will be doing other things between now and then, but what it does mean is I have a collection of almost 50 poems, many of which have never seen the light of day, so to speak. This is one of the last poems that I put into the book, and it's called The Snake. Now, at certain rallies, Donald Trump would sometimes read the lyrics of a song. He called it a poem entitled The Snake. It was written and recorded by Oscar Brown Jr. In 1963. Brown, in turn, based The Snake on Aesop's fable, The Farmer and the Viper, but Trump read the, quote, poem as a warning against immigration. And by the way, the last stanza here comes from a Department of Labor investigation into the use of underage immigrant labor on the cleaning crews of slaughterhouses. The Snake. At the Save America rallies, after the damnation of the criminal aliens breaking across our borders and 1,900% more murders, he would ask the crowds if he could read a poem. This has to do with immigration, he would say. The crowds would whoop and yip. He'd read The Snake, words stolen from a song from the hand of a dead black singer who could not snatch it back, a jazz fable spun on vinyl, a tale from the fabulist of Greece centuries before Christ. The crowds would listen to the poem. Bikers for Trump, cops for Trump, Uncle Sam in his beard, the Statue of Liberty in her crown, the millionaire who sells pillows on TV. They testify in T-shirts that said, Jesus is my savior, Trump is my president. They would hoist the stars and bars or signs that rhymed Trump 24 or before. They would see the movie of the poem in their heads. The snake frozen on the road, the woman scooping him up tight to nurse him with milk and honey by the fire, the incandescence of his skin brought back to life, the woman's kiss and the viper's venomous bite, her question, why? Then the words oozing from his tongue. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in. The crowds would howl at the moral, at the punchline, at the tender woman who would die of tenderness. Like a preacher spelling out the lesson of a parable, their president would repeat, immigration. As they slept, the bikers and the cops, Uncle Sam and the Statue of Liberty, the millionaire on his magic pillow. Adolescents from Guatemala squaldered the killing floors at the slaughterhouse in Grand Island, Nebraska, their hoses like snakes spewing rivers that bubbled in the steam. Around them, the blades of skull splitters and bone saws waited for their fingers to slip, fangs lurking in the murk of early morning, in the days behind the goggles on the faces of adolescents from Guatemala, sleeping the next day at Walnut Middle School, shaken awake by teachers who spotted the acid burns on their hands.
Powerful stuff from poet Martin Espada from a forthcoming book in April of 2025. The poem is The Snake, and Martine and Lauren Schmidt will be reading this Sunday in Shelburne Falls as part of the Shelburne Falls Music Festival. Thank you.
Yes, and that's specifically, I should say, 105 Main Street
105.
in Shelburne Falls.
Yeah,
yes.
we won't reveal whether that is your actual residence or not because, but...
You just have to go and find out.
And just enjoy the poetry from the porch on 105 Main Street.
Yeah, there are rumors we live here, but they're unfounded.
Thank you both so much for joining us.
Best to keep it a
Thank you
mystery.
so much for having us, yeah.
Thank you.
You not only have the opportunity to hear more poetry from Martin Espada and Lauren Schmidt this Sunday in Shelburne Falls, but you'll have the opportunity to hear another poem from each of them tomorrow morning at 11 on the Fabulous 413 Weekend.
On the way, Live Music Friday with T. Swan and Talent, who are some of the talent at the Springfield Jazz and Roots Festival happening for free tonight and tomorrow.
We'll also talk with festival organizer Bianca Jimenez and with the legendary Grammy Award winner Miss Lisa Fisher.
But up next, tasting some weird white wines with the wine snobs at State Street as we return to the Wine Thunderdome.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by the UMass 5 College Credit Union, offering co-op advantage checking with cash back on all purchases, plus secure debit card controls, all from the UMass 5 mobile banking app. Insured by NCUA, umass5.coop.
Back in the day, sommeliers would sip their wine and then they would bend over at the waist with their mouth open to see how much they would drool, and that's how they would measure the acidity of a wine.
Welcome to Wine Snobbery, everybody.
Yeah, but
It's not
boys are
always
gross.
pretty.
In the Wine Bunker, deep below State Street Fruit Store, Deli Wines and Spirits, the birthplace of the Wine Thunderdome. I've thought about this morning. I was like, should I reveal your real names in this segment? Everybody else we do this with, we say their real names.
Pretty sure that we went that way with me.
Did we? Yeah. All right. Well, you'll always be the wine son to me, but your real name is Wes DeSantis. And you'll always and only be the Yankee Sippa to me.
That's right.
But you're
Her
Elisa.
and-
You want me to say your name or
You
not?
can say my name, it's fine.
Elisa Inuriden.
And that's not how you pronounce my last name.
How do you do it?
Injuriden.
Injuriden.
No, Induriden.
Induriden.
In Germany, it's
Intruriden.
yeah. This is also why I never use my name, because people can barely say my first name and then they completely butcher my last name.
Hey, friend!
Yeah.
Except it's the opposite.
Smith is easy, but if you see the other two parts and everyone looks at it and goes, huh?
When I see him, I'm going to be Callus Smythe.
Kellis Naphtali? And like, it's in the goddamn Bible.
We are also joined from the NEPM News Department, our regular State Street drinking friend, Nirvani Williams. Nirvani Williams.
Hi. Hey.
Want to make it a threefer? I'm sure people have looked at your name, easy as it is, and gone,
Oh yeah, Nirvana
I
all the time. And then I would have to be like, oh, it's like the band but with an I at the end. That's how I say it at Starbucks.
Nirvana.
Monte Belmonte.
Easy.
Easy.
No, that's so difficult. I'll be like Belmonte and put the Monte in the bell in the middle and who?
My name is
Monte Belmonte.
What are we drinking down here in the wine bunker today, Wine Son?
We are drinking wines you've never heard of from places you can't pronounce.
Yes, it's like the Montague Book Mill. Books you don't need in a place you can't find.
Except both of those things are a lie.
We all need those books.
And you can find it pretty easy.
The moniker was definitely inspired by them.
I have another name for this segment, and there's a little musical cue. I want to call this, they call it acid.
We can use the Acid Queen in this, which isn't that Tina Turner in the Who movie? Keep the Thunderdome theme going here.
We have the producer, Orsolani. La Rustia is the cuvée, or the name of the bottling. And the grape is Herbaluce di Caluso.
Herbaluce di Caluso.
What is it called in other parts of Italy?
It isn't. So this is about 25 miles north of Piedmont. Herbaluce is about 300 to 400 hectares. Nobody grows it. And what's cool about it is that the growers who make it aren't so big on promoting it. They're like, this is ours. We can get it, but it's pretty rare to find. I want to say there are about 33 communes that make this in this region. But like, yes, we have some.
This smells like beach.
Oh, looks like this beach was a little too much beach for you, Ken.
If I wasn't severely injured, I would beat you off right now, Ken.
This smells like an Italian cheese to me, not Parmesan.
Like pecorino?
Yes!
Oh, well, there actually is a
so
Pecorino grape. I just bought a bottle of it
Wait,
upstairs.
you're kidding.
No.
And does it taste like Pecorino?
It pairs well with
Pairs
Pecorino.
very well with pecorino. That is definitely true.
It's more lemony than the cheese.
Another cool side note about this Orsolani family is they came to America sometime during the 1800s and kind of were like, not all it's cracked up to be, and went back to Piedmont, and this is now the fourth generation starting in 1894. They started a restaurant and a vineyard, and here we are 120 years later.
Can we say that they were wrong?
I think that's what Dominic Sarno's family did too, by the way. Read about it. So, Herb Albertini. This is a great grape.
Herbaluce.
Oh, Herb Aluce. He lived next to my parents in Rosendale, I think.
He worked with the Tijuana Horns.
That was my joke before.
What's cool about this grape, Herbaluce, is there's actually 3 iterations of it. So you have the dry, which we're all having. They also do a little pasito, which you're never going to find in the States. They dry it out and they make a sweet wine out of it. And there's also a sparkling Herbaluce. Sounds pretty cool. But since they don't care whether we buy it or not, I don't know. I guess we'll have to go to Piedmont. Whoops.
Piedmont is what they call me when they confuse my name and I peed my pants.
Oh.
Which is strangely what almost always happens when I take my allergy medication. I have to run to the bathroom an awful lot.
But you cough less.
I do cough less when I take it. Which do I want more? Cough a little bit or pee my pants a lot?
I have a game that does this actually, where you build a medicine and it cures one thing, but you have to kind of like roll for the side effects, and then you have to create like other medicines.
That's all medicines.
Yeah.
It is.
That's every ad you
It
see
is,
for
but
something.
like that's reality, and here you're doing it for fun.
Side
Get
effects equal death.
The side effect of a slightly different depression from your depression medication.
Don't take Zyrtec D if you're allergic to Zyrtec D. Okay, sounds like a good plan.
But how, in fact, do I find out that I'm allergic to Zyrtec D?
Restless legs, severe to moderate plaque psoriasis. I don't know why anyone would leave the United States of America and their healthcare system.
Okay, so this Herb Albert wine.
Herbaluce di Caluso.
It has a great acidity, a viscousness that borders on unctuous.
Is that how you say that?
It is.
Unctuous.
It's a little lemony.
I also love, as I've told you so many times before, any Italian wine that has this rustic Italian quality to it. There's something, every region of Italy, all the white wines always have a somewhat similar hay or straw note that's really rustic, and I love it about Italy in general.
Smells and tastes like a spaghetti western.
A lot of wines from Piedmont, reds included, have a very floral notes to it. Like Barolo smells like violets and roses, and this is floral to me.
Flowers and rocks.
So many of the wines in this one region all smell like flowers, regardless if it's red or white.
Our first wine in the Wine Thunderdome in State Street, Wine Son.
Yes, Orsolani, La Rustia, Herbaluce di Caruso.
From nearish Piedmont. What is our second wine to vote on in this Wine Thunderdome?
We are going to talk about the Marc Moret Bourgogne Aligoté.
Which is from France.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, tell us about
From
this.
Bourgogne. So
Some people hear Bourgogne and they don't know what you're talking about.
Burgundy.
Burgundy is fat.
Burgundy is fat.
Ken Nordine, you know that?
Bourgogne Aligoté is sort of the second white grape of Burgundy. Everybody knows Chardonnay. 10, 15, 20 years ago, Aligoté was sort of really the cheap alternative white wine from this region of France. We always joke that hipsters ruin everything. It becomes popular and now it's super expensive and you're like, oh, come on. Yeah. There's actually a group in France called the Les Aligoteurs. They started in 2018 and they basically started going around to all these vineyards that had Aligoté planted, and we're like, hey, you're not treating this right. Treat it just like the Chardonnay, and we're going to start seeing real gains in your wine. 10 to 15 years ago, as you bottled Aligoté, you were basically losing €1 for every bottle you were making and making up that money with how much you were charging for your Chardonnay, which is about 5 times as much. So we've seen a real uptick in the way people are caring for their Aligoté vineyards, and we've seen a real uptick in price point, but we've also seen a significant uptick in quality.
So we're drinking Aligoté Vert, which is the dry version, like green. And then
That laughter is because this nose in no way smells like anything lean.
What is a lean smell? Because I'm thinking lean cow.
It's like lean cuisine.
Lean meat.
TV dinners.
Yeah, but what,
smells like lean
here's the
cuisine.
thing. So what is lean meat, though? What does that mean? There's no fat.
Less of the...
There's no fat. There's no extra to it. It's
Yeah.
linear. When you put it in your mouth, front to back, it oftentimes is very consistent. And then when you taste it, it can be lean because you're not rolling this around your mouth. You're like, oh, I want to ruin all of my gums in my mouth. But like little things that smell lean, like sometimes we think soap may smell kind of a lean or refreshing or clean, or like the ocean sometimes can smell like ocean breezes. There's not a whole lot extra to it. It's just giving you green apple. It's giving you some lemon.
A green apple
but
is
like-
great. That's perfect.
But like the nose on this is just lush, 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 lush.
Right. I also think of lean as having a little bit, or maybe even a lot, of acidity. And the opposite in wine lingo of lean could be flabby, which means it doesn't have any acidity. So if you hear a wine...
Can we have a flabby wine next time?
No, you don't want
Go,
it.
go get some from California. Go get a Chardonnay from California and you can have a flabby wine.
The shade.
I have Ray-Bans on.
Shots fired.
Shots fired!
I completely agree with your definition of lean when I have this wine. The acidity kind of comes forward.
It tastes a lot leaner than it smells.
Yes, for sure. Both of them have like this mineral, this earthy aspect. Like this one's way more like clay-y, chalky.
Can I tell you something? I've been doing pottery.
Wow, here
There's
we go.
a specific clay body that looks like vanilla. It's like white with like speckles of black in it, and I almost licked it.
It's a good way to enhance your wine tasting abilities.
I think I should go lick the clay.
The clay,
Lick
you know,
clay.
eat some glue, you know, all that stuff.
This is also another house where the granddaughter's taken over.
Yeah.
So it's like House Targaryen. Right, Khalees?
Not a queen, a Khaleesi.
You know I'm not Game of Thrones. I read those books out of order. I did not watch the series.
I've never
I only read the books and never watched the series, despite your imploration.
I watched the series until it got to the point where the books ended.
Which is the right
it off.
way to do it.
I never watched the show because I've only read the books.
I think you'd like House of the Dragon.
Why are you wasting your time on these other dumb shows, George R.R. Martin? Get back to writing!
Finishing your stupid project.
We all know
It's never gonna
that
happen.
man and his suspenders are never gonna
lying
finish.
in his giant pool.
Like no,
floating around.
he's gonna die on us, and it's gonna fall to Brandon Sanderson
I was
again
gonna exactly say that.
to finish the series, and we're all gonna be upset about it, except for the real hardcore Brandon Sanderson people.
I think he's good. He did a good job with Wheel of Time.
Great job with the
Brandon
Wheel of Time.
Sanderson is really great at world building, and I don't want to read anything that he actually writes.
I thought he did a good job with the end of the Wheel of Time.
I mean, you were already on a tear in the middle of Wheel of Time, so.
Yeah. It's another high fantasy series
Really
by
just-
Robert Jordan.
Just nerding out over here.
We really have nerded out. Wow.
Oh, no, this is exciting. I want to hear about it.
So we're gonna say Tijuana Yas to the Herb Alpert wine. Or we're gonna say see you later, Aligoté.
Wow.
Aligoté.
I was going to make the same joke. And I feel
Too late,
I'm
Nirvani.
kind of like
Too late.
freaked out now.
This is why I'm standing on this side.
It's fine. I feel
The
like I have a
punsters
buffer.
are over here.
I think I know. I'm gonna go with the Herbaluce. I'm gonna go with the Piedmont wine. I love that it's so lean on a day like when we step outside and we all melt like Raiders of the Last Ark.
If you're a Nazi,
Yeah.
not everybody melts in that.
Yeah.
But that could be a good test.
Yeah. You know I did say my last name, didn't you? But like, it's becoming more interesting. There's something a little bit more complex to me about this wine than the Aligoté.
I agree with you on this one. The lean one. What is it?
The Herb Albert one?
Yes, the Herb Albert one.
It tastes like whipped cream and other delights.
I think, like you said in the beginning, it's really lean. It kind of had a little bit more acidity. It's just so crisp.
I've gone back and forth a couple times with trying the wine, not necessarily my opinion of which wine I like better. But my second visit with the Herbaluce revealed that it was actually much more complex than I thought on my first visit. I love that. The citrus, the rustic quality, the overall complexity of the Herbaluce is hands down going to be the winner for me.
So no matter what we vote, Khalees, the Herbaluce wins. But just for fun, do you have a favorite?
It's the Herbaluce. Like, I went back and it was real lean on the beginning, but especially like with a little bit of time, a little bit of air, it grew. And I can't say that I always love the element of clay in my glass.
Monty, we're almost unanimous. Spill it.
It is unanimous. The Herbaluce is my favorite one.
Has it ever happened?
Oh, not with 5 of us. No.
Yeah, 5 in a row want this very, very rare grape from near Piedmont in Italy, the Herbaluce, made in only small amounts by a handful of folks.
Yeah, 300 to 400 hectares, which is small.
What the hectare?
Oh,
A hectare is like 1.75 acres.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which we also don't know what that means.
Yeah,
Is it a metric thing that makes sense when you just use zeros instead of arbitrary things about the king?
Isn't an acre like the amount of land that an ox can plow in one day?
Yes, that's exactly.
Did you see that episode of Saturday Night
Seems
Live?
pretty arbitrary.
Because we are free men, and we will be free to measure liquids in liters and milliliters. But not all liquids, only soda, wine, and alcohol. Because for milk and paint, we will use gallons, pints, and quarts, God willing. Okay?
How many liters are in a gallon, sir?
Nobody knows.
I think the Aligoté is really, really good. If you told me, and this is not the price, so I can just say a number on the air, it was $9.99, I would say bring a white Burgundy to your party.
That's what Aligoté
and not tell them
used to be,
what
though.
it is, and they will knock everybody's socks off.
Oh, yeah.
It is really good. But the Herbaluce is way more interesting.
Those are just the rules of the Thunderdome. I'm sorry. There can only be one winner.
So then it's Herbaluce! Unanimous acclamation! Cheers!
It keeps getting more dairy the more I drink it.
It's like it's covered in whipped cream. We named our wine segment the Wine Thunderdome in honor of the great Tina Turner beyond Thunderdome, and coming up, someone who toured with the great Tina Turner, Miss Lisa Fisher, who's performing as part of the Springfield Jazz and Roots Festival this weekend.
We'll talk with Ms. Fisher, hear live music from Springfield's own T-Swan and Talent, and hear how this free festival comes to be every year from Blues to Green's Bianca Jimenez.
That's next. You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Northeast Solar, homegrown in Hatfield, Massachusetts, and providing energy savings for their customers for over 10 years. Learn more at northeast-solar.com.
Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. I'm Monty Belmonte.
And I'm Khalees Smith. The Springfield Jazz and Roots Festival is almost underway in downtown Springfield in the streets surrounding Stearns Square and Tower Square. The free festival is produced by Blues to Green, a nonprofit that harnesses music and the arts to celebrate community and culture.
And joining us to talk about this year's festival is Bianca Jimenez, project manager at Blues to Green. And for Live Music Friday, we'll hear from the brother-sister yin-yang hip-hop duo from Springfield, T-Swan and Talent. They're playing on the Urban Roots stage tomorrow at 6:20.
We are also joined by Grammy Award winner Ms. Lisa Fisher, who will be playing tomorrow night at 8:30 on the Charles Neville main stage along with the band Ranky Tanky.
That's what you were listening to in the bumper music coming in there, their version of Come Together by the Beatles. When Kari Njiri, who's our jazz host and news anchor here, heard that you were here, he totally he fanboyed out, and I was happy to tell him that you were hiding in the green.
I mean, we found out when we found out that you agreed to come and say and talk to us. We were like, oh, really? Oh, no.
Yes. We're big fans. And for those who don't know, maybe you've seen the documentary, the Oscar-winning documentary 20 Feet from Stardom. Ms. Lisa Fisher featured prominently in that, but we will talk more about that in a second. Bianca Jimenez from Blues to Green. First of all, tell us what Blues to Green is if people aren't familiar with it.
Definitely, but I just want to make sure that everybody knows I also fangirled out.
Oh, good.
In the green room today when I saw Lisa.
Yeah, it's unanimous.
Like we're all on the same vibe. Yes, Blues to Green. Blues to Green's a 501c3 nonprofit. We have a plethora of different programs, but the main program that everybody knows about is the Springfield Jazz and Roots Festival, which I expect to see everybody there tonight and tomorrow.
It has a heritage with the great Charles Neville, who is part of the Neville brothers, the first family of New Orleans in some ways, and then had a long connection here to Western Massachusetts. His wife, Kristen Neville, and his son, Khalif Neville, still very much involved in it. And there's the main stage named in his honor.
For sure. Also, just with the, being able to celebrate all different kinds of music from the African diaspora and creating a space for that is super important. And it goes along with the values that Blues to Green tries to promote. So we really hope to see everybody there today. Kristen and everybody have been putting in a lot of work. The other co-producer of the festival is Evan Plotkin. And together with our board, we really, really think that we made a very special show this year for everyone.
And again, this festival is free. These names come out, and it is a free festival to the public. They take donations for it if you are able to do so, but it's open and available to the public to participate and see all of these great names in all of these genres.
Absolutely. Equity is always in the center of this. So we want to make sure that everybody in the community has access to be able to come to these shows, especially because a lot of this music comes from places that they lived in an inequitable life. So be able to really honor Charles' legacy and to really honor Kristen and what she wants. This is how we're able to give back to our community, creating this space for music, everybody from all these different places, food, beer. It's going to be an awesome time, and we really can't wait to see everybody tonight and tomorrow.
And get down, and because they've had two sort of lead-up events happening.
Oh yeah,
up to it. So, but the real meat and potatoes, so to speak, of the festival is happening tonight and tomorrow.
Absolutely. There's also a ton of art activities. It's like a family event. It's a family-friendly event. We have an art tent for kids to be able to come and create with eco-friendly art materials. We have a mural from Commonwealth Murals that everybody can participate, and we're going to hang somewhere in Springfield. Imagine seeing a piece of yourself, what you created, in this mural. Everybody has to come. Come on.
We've already said how excited we are about Miss Lisa Fisher performing, and that T-Swan and Talent are here and are going to perform for us, and they're performing as well. Who else are you excited about that's part of the festival over the weekend?
Man, I'm definitely excited for all of these performers that are sitting next to me. I told you my fangirl situation. But also Paua. She is my millennial Latina dream of folk music and techno, which I love. But there's going to be a mulatto from Springfield. There's going to be great performers in general.
Brandy Younger.
Oh my goodness. What a force.
And it's all for free, and it starts in just a little bit right in downtown Springfield and goes all the way through tomorrow. There's a second line parade, which is very New Orleans-y and very Charles Neville-y.
Starts at 11:30. The second line parade from downtown, City Hall downtown.
And that's always a great time. Ms. Lisa Fisher, we can't believe you're here. You spent 26 years with the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
Let's hear a little clip from the documentary that you were featured in, 20 Feet from Stardom. This is Mick Jagger talking about you.
When you can get someone like Lisa to step out, then you've got a whole new voice out there.
I could hear how Mick was singing that night and, react to him a certain way. Like nobody else was in the room. It was freeing in a weird way.
The Rolling Stones have a bunch of Western Mass connections that we won't get into right now either, because I think that the people that work for them were not there when you were there. But the part that you're singing right there is the part that Mary Clayton made famous in the actual recording. She's also in the documentary. And
yes.
I get emotional every time I hear because her voice has this incredible crack
Yes.
when you hear the original recording, and then
Yes.
you hear Mick Jagger go, woo!
Yes.
And I get filled with such emotion that they left that on the recording.
Yeah.
How did it feel to be able to go out there, not just with that song, but all the other songs of the Stones, night after night, for 26 years, which in Rolling Stones time is just a drop in the bucket. Since they are 1,000 years old.
I know. It was two things at once. It was terrifying because it was a whole new way that I had to learn to be free. And a lot of the background things that I was doing was a lot more structured with choreography, and everything had to be in a particular way. So I was trying to find myself, and they gave me the space. And once I knew I had the space, then it was like, ooh, game's on now. Let the cat out the bag now.
One of the things that I've admired about your voice and your career is just your general versatility. Like, you've done like jazz, you've done rock, you've done techno, you've done like all of these things with such like power and nuance. But like, what has singing with those other artists brought to your solo stuff and your current career?
It brings permission. It brings a needle and thread for me to heal the things that are broken within me. So, through having a record deal and just everything having to be put in a box that needs to be pushed and sold a certain way, and you got to look a certain way and act a certain way. I was like, wait a minute. This is a buffet. This isn't just a one-stop, one-thing thing. Music should be as free as the people that listen, So it brings a sense of quilting to my soul.
When you were talking about being put in a box, did it have to do with the early part of your career when you did win a Grammy for your solo work? But in that early '90s, when the record industry was still this behemoth, it's changed in a lot of ways, for better and for worse.
And with very specific ideas of what black music looks like.
Baby, baby. Ooh, yes. Indeed. Yeah, it was having a record deal in my 30s, which they thought was old. To me, my soul was still, 18. It was a new experience for me. So, they're like, oh, well, you have to sound like this, and we can't have too many songs that don't fit that group, that genre. We don't know how to sell it. Every radio station had their thing that they were pushing in, the rock station, and you got your R&B stations, blah, 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 and all that's great. But I'm just getting the feeling now that with the way music is being created and the freedom that young people are experiencing now, it's so needed and it's so varied. And you see these sprinklings of all these spices from other pots kind of going into rhythm and blues, which, I'm loving this freedom I'm seeing. I'm just loving it. Yeah.
Well, speaking of younger artists and
gonna make this segue
sprinkling throughout all, we have been trying over the course of this year and a half that we've been doing the Fabulous 413 to have every member of Springfield's Swan family on the show.
There's no way there's so many of them.
We have done a pretty good job of that. But T. Swan and Talent are a brother and sister duo that are part of the iconic Swan family of Springfield, Massachusetts. And you both work together at times, but you also have your own separate musical careers going there, right, Talent?
Yes, absolutely. So we definitely enjoy working with one another. He's not just a rapper, actually. He produces and makes beats and all of that. So I usually tend to get on his productions a lot.
So who's the older sibling?
She is.
Yeah, you gotta say it.
Yeah, she likes hearing that.
Who started making music first?
Or was it just a family thing? Like, y'all just came to it
I feel like we kind of came into it around the same time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
How long have you been making music then?
About 15, 16 years.
Yeah, you have a Wu-Tang shirt on, so you could be going back to the early 90s, too. Wu-Tang,
I know my stuff.
That's where I live. Well, it is Live Music Friday, so let's hear something live. First, from T-Swan, playing Springfield Jazz and Roots tomorrow night.
Yes, sir. Yeah. 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 Yo, sky's the limit, flying up in it. My mind is running to go a mile a minute. Minding my business, trying to get it. I can't wait to say that I finally did it. Diamonds and riches, y'all be lying to get it. I ain't a gimmick, I'm so committed. I'm so authentic, time to get with it. Sky is the limit. Yeah, when I be writing rhymes, I be on cloud 9. Can't believe I'm 29 now, it's about time. People wanna ask why I'm always chilling inside. A lot of y'all energy, it be killing my vibe, yeah. And I would much rather be feeling alive. I never touched a mill, but wrote about 1,000,000 lines. They be telling y'all the silliest lies. I be telling y'all what been on my mind. It's a lot, but I'm still on the grind, yeah. Sky is the limit, flying up in it. My mind is running to go a mile a minute. Minding my business, trying to get it. I can't wait to say that I finally did it. Diamonds and riches, y'all be lying to get it. I ain't a gimmick, I'm so authentic. I've been committed, time to get with it. Sky is the limit, flying up in it. I'm about to take off and take flight. And lately it's been no days off and late nights. I got more brave, I used to have stage fright. I'm skybound now, I used to be afraid of heights. I'm looking at the game through a bird's eye view and getting better every song and every verse I do. Taking the high road, I hope it leads to success. I'm spreading my wings and I'm leaving my nest. I got so many things that be on my chest, this be relieving my stress. I'm just a human being, but I plan on being the best. Sky is the limit, I picture me on a jet. I need to give me some Franklins and I still need some respect. It's a bird, it's a plane, no it's just me. I'ma be a household name, you could trust me. It was only in my own brain I was stuck here. Even when it pours down rain, I'll be up there.
Woo! T-Swan, who's playing the Urban Roots stage for free. Springfield Jazz and Roots Festival tomorrow evening at 6:20.
Homegrown hip hop right in your own backyard.
And luckily, there are cameras in here, and maybe you'll be able to see this eventually. But to watch Miss Lisa Fisher watch you, and you were so focused, you didn't see this, but you were exuding joy.
Absolutely in it.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Well,
truly do.
Well, let's take a little break, and we're going to hear from the other side of the brother-sister hip-hop Springfield duo, Talent, in just a little bit, and more with the Grammy Award winner and Oscar-adjacent Ms. Lisa Fisher, as well as Bianca Jimenez from Blues to Green, which is the organization that puts on Springfield Jazz and Roots, which begins in like an hour.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
Can't have love without hate.
Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. I'm Monty Belmonte.
And I'm Khalees Smith.
We are here with Ms. Lisa Fisher, Grammy Award winner and performer at the Springfield Jazz and Roots Festival. She'll be performing tomorrow evening. We also got T-Swan and Talent in the building, and Bianca Jimenez. Bianca, it's free, but with RSVP. Is it too late to RSVP at this point?
Absolutely not. It's really important that everybody RSVP. So yeah, it's free. You don't really need a ticket. But in order for us to get more grant funding and for order for us to get more money and to continue to make this free, we have to show people how much of an impact this festival really makes. So please sign up. We need to make as much money to make sure that this festival stays free for everybody and everybody can enjoy all the music, all the vibes, all the food, all the good stuff. So go ahead and log on to springfieldjazzfest.com and go ahead and purchase a ticket. You can make a donation if you'd like. We take those as well, but it's totally free. We just want you to come and have a good time.
Word.
That's awesome.
Do you want to hear from Talent so we don't run out of time and then nerd out with Miss Lisa Fisher for the rest of the show? Let's do that.
Let's do it.
Let's hear from Live Music Friday, Talent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some say I've got an ugly face, swag dance, no Westbrook. Sometimes I'm straight for to come sideways like Chessbrooks. Sometimes my flow slap, sometimes it give left hook. Sometimes I'm poetry slam, sometimes Tim Westwood coolin'. But I could switch to me, myself, and Irene. Sometimes me and Karma get along, sometimes she wanna fight me. People misconstrue my views, sometimes don't say the right things, but ciphering inside me. Making jams with peanut butter sands up in my hand, tougher than ivory. Normal chick, I swear I travel the world just to sightsee. Ain't never been a hype beast, that thing is way beside me. I probably skipped the party next door, I'm more like Kyrie. My pop is a bishop, I never been into the church scene. Ain't never hold it against me not being in them clergy. Sally man, the reason that I work hard. I got visions of being my own boss. Yeah, said I'm so tired of this apartment. Yeah, and daydreaming about ballin'. So when I hear that money calling, say you know I gotta go all in. And I am more than just an artist. And life get hard, you know I sparks flips. I need some more money to fall in. So you know I gotta go all in. And they gon' claim it's all luck. My head in books, always on my thing fold. Never that, tryna make a brand like Nabisco. Small circle, never really know where you be info. I know the love be faking, they be looking for some info. You ain't hold me down when I was down. Need I remind you, like when you start going up, they all cousins and admire you. Like when you really get hot, everybody wanna find you. Like when you really get hot, everybody wanna find you. Think they know you now. Thank God for not consistent to my hard head. I had to let go of the ones who slow me down. Never been bitter about anyone who didn't hold me down. I just think it's funny all the love that they try to show me now. They don't wanna see me ball, they don't wanna see me high. They don't wanna pass the ball when they know I'm really nice. It's been years since you called, just know that I'm alright. Cause everybody wanna ball, not everybody gonna ride. Said I'm so tired of this apartment and daydreaming about balling. So when I hear that money calling, say you know I gotta go all in. And I am more than just an artist. And life get hard, you know I sparks flips. I need some more money to fall in. So you know I gotta go all in. Yeah.
Woo! That is Talent, who is playing with her brother, T. Swan, 6:20 tomorrow evening on the Urban Roots stage for free Springfield Jazz and Roots Festival.
As somebody who only paid off their student loans in the past 5 years, I feel that Sally Mae line.
Yeah, and I also felt the line about your dad, who's a bishop, who's been on this show, the legendary Bishop Talbert Swan, and I throw out to your cousin, Scotty Swan, who will no doubt listen to this on a podcast in Las Vegas and be so glad that we had his cousin.
Despite what we've said, we swear we're not treating your family like Pokemon.
No, yes. Let's get back to Miss Lisa Fisher, who we've all nerded out about here. Let's play a little clip again from the documentary. This is Sting talking about Miss Lisa Fisher.
Seems that she's gone, leaving me too soon. During the Hounds of Winter, I just indicated to Lisa that she should, vocalize and do something to evoke the spirit of loneliness or whatever. And out comes this voice, this amazing, extraordinary, ghostly voice. So every time she's performed that with me, I've asked her to do that. That's a powerhouse voice, and I think of her as a star. I mean, she's a star.
We think that way too, Sting. You have a great solo career. You're going to be playing with Ranky Tanky tonight. But if one of these tomorrow night, but if one of these big stars were to pick up the phone and say, come back out on the road with me on Sunday, if you had to pick one of them that you've been out with, who would you wish was on the other end of that phone?
Ooh.
Living or dead?
Luther Vandross.
I was gonna say.
I'm glad we brought him up because that was a big part of the career too.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. I mean, the first time I ever had my face, quote unquote, beat was, so, for his tour. And so the makeup artist was Rene DiCimiso. And he was a beautiful, Latin, gorgeous man. Just had so much flair even when he just walked down the street. And so this is the guy that actually gets to beat my face. But Luther didn't want me to see myself in the mirror. So I had to turn my back, from the mirror. He's doing all this stuff, and I'm feeling all this powder, and stuff is flying, and, look here, look there, close your eyes, all this stuff. And then Luther comes in to see me first. Oh, and he did my hair as well. Bobby pins everywhere. Luther comes in, sees me, and he approved it. He approved the look. And then I turn around. I was like, can I see? And I turn around and I look and I was like, who is that woman? How interesting, because I know the woman underneath her, but who is this woman? Oh, who do I want to be? Who do I get to be? It was like this transformation. And it was like, to me, like the blossoming in the beginning, and everything that he's taught me goes into everything else I do.
I know we only have like a minute left, but Lisa, why jazz now? Why the evolution into jazz for this stage of your career?
It's interesting. It's like, I think mainly I've always felt that it was there, that all the music that I've done, all the music that I listen to, all the background things that I've worked on, it's a thread. It's all there. And so it's like, it feels like a natural progression. Yeah.
That is the legendary Ms. Lisa Fischer, who everyone in the building has fanned out about today, and who you can see tomorrow for free in downtown Springfield as part of the Jazz and Roots Festival, as well as T. Swan and talent who have joined us. And a big thank you to Bianca Jimenez from Blues to Green as well. Thank you all for coming in today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Amazing people sitting here, all of you.
And thank you for being a part of this like really wonderful thing that Springfield does, again, for free for like anybody to come and participate in. Music really is like the true language of everyone.
Next week on the Fabulous 413, we'll talk about a new place to hang out in East Hampton with folks from the Jupiter Club.
And getting your headbang on in the woods with the metal-driven RPM Fest.
If you like your music softer, we've got live music from Chris Purica.
And amazingly funny comedian Dulce Sloan before she fills the Berkshires with laughter at Mass Mocha.
And the grossest arachnid, who happens to have a research lab in the heart of Amherst. We will take you on a tour of Tick Report's tick testing lab.
It's gross, but also really informative and good for you. Thanks so much to the Fabulous 413 tech team doing all the wonderful pushing of buttons. I'm Khalees Smith.
And I'm Monty Belmonte. We'll see you next week on the Fabulous 413.